shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
All right, welcome to SUYL. All right, I got a guest in studio. Go ahead and give us your name.
Hi, I'm Jeni Robins.
All right, Miss Robins is coming all the way from California. She was doing you were closing.
I'm on a little stand-up tour. Yeah, I'm doing a little stand-up tour.
So you're doing a complete stand-up tour right now.
Well, I mean, an Austin tour. So I was here
That's
all
great.
week, and I had shows almost every single night. Today was the only night I wasn't booked, so that's why I'm here.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming through.
Yeah.
I mean, we loved Josh went out of his way to basically make sure that we got the lockdown on you, and I was super excited to get someone in. And you're coming from LA, or are you coming from
LA? Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Okay, let's appease the Texas people by making them. Is the homeless problem really as bad as people talk about?
Oh
it?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. They're zombie people. That's what they are.
Do you watch South Park a lot?
Yeah.
So like when they give you the money, it was like change.
Oh yeah.
And they forget and yeah.
No, yeah, it's intense. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. They're all over the place. I went to San Francisco recently.
Yeah.
And before I went out there, I was researching things that were there, and I checked out this Yellow Jacket guy. If you ever see him, he has some pretty good videos, but he had two different ones. He had one that was top 10 things to do in San Francisco. Click on it, and he's joyous, and he's cute, and he's like, hey, he's like, check out, like, I'm at this carousel, I'm having fudge, I'm over here at the beach, like, he's having a grand old time. Top 10 things. I looked at it and I was like, wait, let me look at something a little bit closer to the time. Saw one that was post 2020. It was like, I think it was like 2020. I think it might have been this year or recent years.
He's got a red bandana on, and a bayonet. And the frown.
He might as. I'm not even joking. Like the title was, "Is San Francisco Safe?" And then it's just him, like, well, guys, you need to make sure to keep all your belongings real close to you. Keep them close by. You'll see that there is a problem with the homeless, and unlike in recent years, they have become very aggressive. They are very aggressive. So what I have learned is if I just make sure you don't look at them in the eye. If you look at them in the eye, they may think that you are one of their invisible enemies that they are seeing, and they will attack you. Like, I swear, he said that. Like, that was in the actual, like, in dead, like, completely serious.
Are you a YouTuber? Like, do you get into, like, the YouTube, like, rabbit holes?
You know, I don't do it. I don't do it often, no. Yeah.
If you ever want to get into, like, a really, really strange rabbit hole, you should look up people who are talking about, it's like stalkers, but they're not there. Like, I'm trying to think of what they're called. But anyways, they're gang stalking. Have you ever heard of gang stalking? So, like, they'll go out into the streets and they'll be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 3 green cars. That's them following me, right? And it's just like these, like, people who are.
Oh, I've seen stuff like that.
Just
yeah.
Like, you know, just everything is them following you. Oh, this guy I saw this male guy stop at this post stop 5 times. Stop following me, postman. You know, and it's just like, man, it's bad. It is. That gang stalking is one of those weird things that you can find yourself slipping into. A really crazy rabbit hole.
I can tell that you've gone down this rabbit hole.
I watch people who.
I spent 25 hours straight. I didn't sleep for 3 days.
It's called confirmation bias, because I saw 5 red cars and I was like, well, let's see who else is seeing these red. No.
That's
yeah. Here we go. So when you come down to Texas, like, what's like your kind of like plan of action, like your stomping ground? Like, you want, like, I want to make sure I go here.
Well,
I want to make sure.
for me, this trip was all just shows.
Okay.
So I was born in El Paso. So when I go down there, then I have my favorite spots that I want to go eat at, and my favorite little things. Austin's a different vibe. It's not a bad vibe, but it's just a different vibe. So
I love this, like, because I'm such an old man. Like, I like the term vibe, because it's one of those new things in the lexicon that just kind of makes me smirk.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, how do you like, I was talking to, like, all the young people that I work with, and I was like, are y'all guys, are you a person excited for, like, Halloween? Well, no, it's, like, a definite vibe, but, like, I'm more of a Thanksgiving person, and I'm like, what is that mean? It's a vibe. Okay, cool. Like,
I totally understand. I understand what they were saying. Halloween is a vibe. It's fun, man.
I mean,
I love all the holidays. I love it. My mom was a school teacher, and I love, like, I'll dress up for Halloween still as an adult, and I'll,
So you were saying that your dad is, you were saying that you're.
Oh, yeah.
So I won't give it, but you were saying that are you half Hispanic?
I'm mixed. Well,
okay.
I mean,
so
yeah.
the thing is, that doesn't really matter, but, like, that's important to who you are. But do you do, like, ponche or, like, traditional, like, Mexican stuff from like, their holidays tradition? Like, my dad tried to do it last year.
No,
and it was it's a lot of fun. So
what's ponche?
It's like fruit and like spices,
Oh,
and like you have it during the holidays, and it's almost like our version of cider, like Hispanic.
I think
version.
so. My cousin makes that, and she puts it's like guava and like sugar cane and actually. She does make that. I don't know what we call it. We just always call it that thing that my cousin makes, and then with the fruit, like that's very good. We spike it sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah,
that's why it's there. It's like the eggnog for Hispanics. It's just like it's just there as like a vehicle for like vodka, for like tequila or rum.
Which is kind of, in my opinion, it's like a lot healthier than the.
I think so, right? Yeah, you got like brown sugar in there instead of like a dark cane sugar in there, and like a lot of fruits and.
Oh, that sounds so good right now.
Really refreshing.
I love the holidays. It's about to be. I love spooky movies during Halloween. Did you watch Hocus Pocus 2 already?
I haven't. I caught the beginning of it. It's really adorable. They got like this like younger kiddo kind of person.
Yeah, you can tell that they're trying to like keep it going with the young kids.
They're
doing that with everything.
Well, they do like a backtrack, right? So like they have kiddos that look like all of the witches.
Oh yeah.
As youngsters, and that was really kind of funny. They had their like prosthetic teeth to make her look like the
they're just like playing a little homage to like
it was definitely neat. I mean, I love like I stay in the Matrix, like I live in the Matrix, like I'm like I'll reference stuff and it'll be completely like I'll reference things that are borderline like obsessive on certain things, like I mean, so this is like.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so all of like
Simpsons is so classic though.
Yeah, so I get like the nostalgia sake of it, and I hope it lives on. Like all my nephews liked it, which is great. So that's like that's the next generation of, well, actually it's not, but it's like the generation of like my sister's kids like actually enjoyed it and said it was funny, and they're like harsh critics.
It's because I know.
They're so harsh critics. Like, oh, like they aren't Adam Sandler fans, really. They're not like,
yeah.
And we can't show them the things we grew up on because like we were raised on such horrible stuff. Like I was like 11 and 12 and watching like Friday. And
oh yeah, my parents would let me watch whatever I wanted to.
Yeah, Saw, Jason.
I watched It, the original It, when I was in kindergarten.
My mom read the entire book of It while she was pregnant with me. Have you ever seen the book?
I know about it.
Well, so the book looks like two Bibles.
Oh yeah.
Together. It's ridiculous. And she read it while she was, I guess, like while she was in the hospital. She read the whole book. And so now, like, I don't know if it's just instilled in me through her reading. It just terrifies me. I don't even think I finished the newer movie.
Oh my goodness.
Like it is like Pennywise is like, and not clowns in particular, just particularly the Pennywise clown. Like that's the one that messes with me.
What about the new one?
That's what I'm saying. Like Pennywise.
Even that one.
Yeah,
so new one and the old one.
Yeah, the new one and the old one. I think Tim. Was it Tim
Robbins? No.
Tim. It's something else. It's something similar to that.
Gosh, I feel so bad that I'm like. I don't.
Yeah, I feel like what's it? Can you look up It?
Original It. Original It actor.
The original It actor. It's Tim.
The original person who made
this actually would be the second time.
I know his face in my head, of course.
Yeah, so
but
like
I can't.
he was on, like, what is it? Frankenfurter. So he's Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show. He's.
Y'all want to have one more shot at guessing it?
Tim. I can't do it.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry.
Oh, there.
Okay, great. You know what really got me with Tim Curry though? Like the one that like really messed me up for a long time.
His mouth.
That's great, but no. Like, have you ever seen? It's a Tom Cruise movie where it's the last unicorn.
No, I haven't seen
Legend
it.
is what it's called. Have you ever seen Legend?
I can't remember it at all.
There's this. It's like an older movie, probably like 80s or 90s. Tom Cruise's like first movie. He's super young in it, and this like devil-looking creature that's Tim Curry is basically trying to get the horn of a unicorn.
Oh.
And
He's so good at those horror.
So horrifying. I think I watched it like Thanksgiving, and like it was on in the TV in the living room, and I was just like, I gotta get out of here. Like I can't do this. Like it legit scared me. I don't know how old I was. Probably like 7 or 6 years old.
I remember the one that scared my mom was Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men.
Oh, I love No Country for Old Men.
I had to go find
what an amazing like
his portrayal. I had to go find video of him normal to show my mother so she could sleep that night.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's how like to show like look, he's just a regular guy. He's not that scary.
The gas station scene alone is one of the most
call
intense
it
scenes.
friendo.
He's like, I gotta know what I'm gambling on, and it's just like you just feel so sorry for that guy. You just like yeah. Hey, you're gambling. This is like the most important thing you'll ever gamble on in your entire life. Yeah.
Don't put it in your pocket.
Have you ever heard of The Cell? With those Jennifer Lopez.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I remember that one.
Okay.
I remember not loving it. I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge. I hate to admit it, but I'm not a huge fan of J-Lo.
Well, J-Lo's not Hispanic, so I don't think that you have too much to worry about. So she's
Yeah,
Latina, but
she's
like,
a fellow Jenny, and people always are like, "Oh, your name is Jenny." I love the Forrest Gump reference. I don't
have to particularly like every Michael, but I get it. Yeah. But
not when people call you like, "Oh, just like," and it drives me nuts.
There was this like ridiculous knockout drag out conversation with Josh's boys over here. Who are they from? Fighter and the Kid.
Brennan Chauvinot.
Yeah, they were having a legit like argument over who was better, Shakira or J-Lo, and like it was hilarious. It was the funniest thing I'd seen in a long time. Like they were legit like shouting at each other about who's like the better. Like overall,
I think Shakira.
I have to say Shakira, but only because like J-Lo is just like, They're like Shakira's got like she's.
I will say that I'm starting to get more respect for J-Lo, but like I'm starting to appreciate her more, like in the longevity of how long
as sad
she's.
As it sounds, and as much as I shouldn't care, I was genuinely happy for her getting back with Ben Affleck.
I mean, I wouldn't take it that way. I don't want to get into her personal life, but just like as an entertainer, as like a person, I'm like, okay, I can.
I like watching that. What is it, Dance World that she's in or something like that?
Oh, I don't watch any of her stuff. That's what I'm saying. I everything is like very off-putting to me about the things that she does. I'm sorry, I hate to say it. That's just my taste, my personal taste. Yeah.
You don't have to like. I mean, like I said, I live in the Matrix, so like my thing is like I hate like. So, is there a particular person that like actor besides maybe Jennifer Lopez that you despise? Like, there's one person that I particularly despise, and when you tell me, I'll tell you mine.
Oh, okay. Meghan Trainor.
Oh, great! What a great one. That's a good one to dislike. I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strong
yeah.
dislike.
Mine is Jeff Dunham.
Oh, I think he went to my high school.
Jeff Dunham.
I think he did.
He actually performed at Granger before he was ever a thing. Like, he did a circuit. Like, and so he actually performed in Granger, Texas, which is a small town outside of Taylor. And so, and I still can't stand that man. I don't get why people think he's funny. I despise Jeff Dunham. I feel so bad because, like, at a certain point, a human being shouldn't take up that much space in your brain for overall dislike. That's kind of, like, super, like, unhealthy. But I can't get, like... It's not like I can't stand that guy. It's a problem.
A lot of his content's low-key racist.
That's one of the reasons why. Yeah, I think that's one of the big reasons why. It's like it's low-hanging fruit with puppets.
Yeah.
You know.
But it's like he took low hanging fruit, but he made it slightly higher by adding puppets. Like that's
Yeah.
it. Like I took a lot of detail into these puppets, and then
Yeah, he just had the means and wits to make like a jalapeno talk, and I'm like, okay, that's funny.
I guess you find your crowd, and you find your crowd.
Yeah, I mean that's a good thing. I mean every cruise ship needs a comedian.
They make
Yeah,
they
that's
make
what
all
I'm saying.
right.
Every
They,
cruise ship needs a comedian.
they make, I have friends that do that, and they feel they're. You know who does the best on those? Lonely. Oh, I hate to say it, but like single older men who like, or especially after divorce, like they're
Yeah.
like they don't give a fuck. They just want to go hang out and like
Eat some
and be.
shrimp and like bake in the sun.
Yeah, you do. You perform a couple hours a night, and then that's it. The rest of the time, you're just hanging out, meeting people, and especially like as I'm saying, a single older man just like picking up on
I feel like
girls on vacation.
I feel like that's like I hope Tom Papa never hears this, but I feel like you're describing Tom Papa.
Oh,
But
that's
except he's
funny.
not divorced. I just think of like a middle-aged like comedian, and immediately I go to like, because I love Tom Papa. He's so genuinely like such a nice guy. But I think of like him doing a great movie where like he's a washed-up or like sad comedian doing like a cruise ship circuit would be great, because he kind of has this like little bit older comedian, been around since like the early '90s, mid '90s. You know, I love Tom Papa. He's great.
Yeah.
He did a whole bit on bread, or like he did a whole thing with bread, because like not bit, but he did like a whole thing with bread during the lockdown. He got like really good at making breads, and
Oh,
so
that's
he was
fun.
like bringing breads to like Joe Rogan, and just like I think he even did like a cookbook. Like it was really neat. He's an interesting character. For some reason, my mind's eye goes to him when I hear like you talking about someone like that.
That's funny.
But so before we get out of here, before we kind of wrap it up. We're only 16 minutes in. Wow. Okay, I felt like we've been talking for a while. That makes me
Yeah,
happy.
all
I'm
right.
glad. Okay, so you were talking about on the other podcast, you were kind of talking about different like psychedelics that y'all guys were speaking on psychedelics. I've never taken psychedelics. Like the craziest I get is like marijuana. So, what do you find like what do you try and do to, like, is it more of like a spiritual journey, or is it more of like a kind of like trying to just get out of a certain headspace? Is it creative?
I don't know. I feel like that's more of Josh over there is a little more passionate about the psychedelics than I am. I mean, I appreciate them.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they shouldn't be
Taboo.
so
like,
taboo,
yeah.
or I think that like all drugs should be legal. I think you should just come with a thorough disclaimer.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying that everybody should do anything, but I think what ends up happening is when things become illegal, then when you outlaw something, then only outlaws have it.
Yeah.
So, or not,
Well,
not
like
only,
restriction.
but yeah, but okay. So what happened with like once weed became legalized, or what I kind of like watched happen in California. So weed became legalized, whereas before, yes, it was great because you could go and like you'd go to your local dealer,
Yeah.
and then you would, but then there was always the risk of somebody altering it in some way, or
Yeah.
it getting like spliced with something, or
It wasn't there wasn't regulations to it, so you weren't exactly
you don't know what
keen
you're
to
getting.
knowing exactly what you're putting in your body.
So, bro,
And so with
yeah.
legalization, or maybe moving this above board, so that it's not in a black market. You're not worried about fentanyl cutting. You're not worried about cutting. You're not
Yeah.
worried about like going with some other kind of like additive in there to basically make the acid somehow, that could hurt you in some way, or you don't trust exactly where this is coming from. So you have a little bit more stop losses in between.
I mean, we see the issues that it causes. Like we see, like you were talking about the homeless situation, and I mean, a lot of that is drug related, or where you become dependent on something, where you give up so much just to continue.
I honestly,
on this.
like, there's a lot of issues that come with just it's been a positive thing. You find like these like last two generations have really opened up people into getting the necessary help that they need with mental health. But a lot of this stems from just poor mental health in the 90s and sometimes even the 80s, that there was just like really poor mental health benefits for people. Nobody talked about anything. A lot of people use substance to like kind of numb certain aspects of life that were just like unbearable or just not able to cope with.
Yeah.
And so you find this like I find it more now that men men are more keen to maybe going to see a therapist, or just women, just families in general. They're more open to working, I guess, like on the things that are affecting them emotionally, and which is great. But I think that with that as well, you see a lot of these people who are probably out of that age range that are essentially using these drugs to cope with certain, mental health issues that they just can't take, or...
I don't even know if it's that. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think there's so many factors, but particularly like the just, that, if you get addicted, you get addicted, and then and it's really hard to get out of that. And
I watched this like horrible it was a great documentary. It was really honest, and there was like two sisters that were like completely addicted to heroin, and I think it had stemmed from one having like, I think like some kind of like major surgery, and then essentially like the other one and her like sharing in the experience of taking some sort of barbiturate or opioid, and then turning that opioid addiction into, harder and harder drugs. And then one gets clean, and then the other one just spiraled completely out of control and never really came back from it. I mean, took her life. It was an insane journey to see one twin actually recover, and the other one really just take complete control over her. It was definitely a sad story, but it's an important one to kind of show how different even, I guess like mental fortitude it's so different between persons,
Yeah, I can see that.
So I hate to, that was pretty dark, but like, let's change it and make it a little bit happier, because that was really dark. But when what are your plans for stand-up comedy and kind of like all of the like this like really interesting lifestyle that you're like breaking into?
So I've been growing a lot. This trip was great. I really like coming out to Austin because the scene is different from LA. There's all these entertainers in LA, and it's just kind of fun to test things out with a different audience. I feel like there's a lot more packed venues here that I'm seeing.
Are they any smaller? Are they like any like a little bit more like intimate, a little bit more like? Do you feel like you can kind of like interact a little bit better? Or is like California keep it pretty intimate as well?
No, it's I mean, even like the Comedy Store, it holds a good amount of people each room.
Yeah.
But this time has been a mix of shows, but just it's been fun getting to come and do it. I had a whole run. So Monday I tried to get on Kill Tony. Did not get picked for Kill Tony, but I tried, or at least put my name in the hat and hung out for the time. Tuesday I was at Baker Street Pub. Wednesday I did Thrive. It was outdoor. I think that's one of my favorite places to perform at. It was just so pretty. And I was able to really have like a nice conversation with the crowd. So that's
always fun.
That was great.
Yeah. Are you good at, is your disc game like pretty good? Is your like kind of like,
only conversationally, like
so your banter being kind of introducing it into banter is a little bit easier.
Oh yeah. I do like I think honestly the banter just comes from hanging out with other comics.
Yeah, I think
because that's
I was ultra nervous whenever I did was it Tough Room. I did Tough Room with like 3 other comics, and like it was like, I'm not a comedian. I don't particularly find myself funny either. So, but
that's fun.
So it was like definitely one of those that I was like it's definitely this like jump rope situation. Like you're like trying to find your in, and you're just waiting for the right time to say the but you also don't want to kind of like keep track of your words and make sure that, because you don't want to seem robotic. So you're like, you have to play this kind of like game where you're like listening to the conversation, making sure you're being, you're
being part of it. Yeah,
being part of it, still being witty and not overthinking it. It's a lot of fun, because like that's where my mind is I'm like, ugh. So I'm self-diagnosed with ADHD. Well, I mean, I was told I did have it in school. I just never went to a doctor. The way that I cope with it is by listening to podcasts as I work. And no, I'm not supposed to, but like it's the only way that I can concentrate. Do you have like you were saying, was that just like a self-diagnosis, or do you actually have ADD?
Oh, ADD. Oh, same. Where I've had various people look at me, like, and even doctors who were, off the clock, who were like, oh yeah, very obviously, like, you have all of the signs, but I just haven't gone in. I don't know. I just haven't gone in.
Yeah, I honestly just I try not to use it too much as a crutch. I just essentially make sure that I'm trying, like, when I have to focus, I try and focus. Music doesn't really help, but podcasts definitely help. Any kind of like audible noise in the background that can kind of like, it keeps me concentrated on like the task at hand. Or if not, I'll run into thoughts of like, how I would do it instead of actually doing the task at hand.
Yeah. All right.
So, it was great. It was great talking to you. I really appreciate you coming through. One thing that we like to ask, or I particularly like to ask, especially on SUYL, is how you like the vibe and basically.
It was fun. It was a nice little vibe.
And everything.
I can tell you guys put a lot of work into making this feel nice. So.
Yeah, we definitely try. We make sure we want to make.
Oh, that's right. There's moon pies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal a moon pie.
Steal a moon pie. All right, I think that was. Let's get all of your stuff out there of how they can find you before we cut out, and you can enjoy your moon pie.
The perks. Check me out. I'm on most things as at Jeni Robins with 1B.
You can find her from Jenny on the Block.
No, see, that's what I'm telling you. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of that association.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you for different Jenny.
Okay, so thank you, Jenny, thank you the original Jenny for being on SUYL. Have a great evening, guys. Thank y'all again.
Shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow.